In the year 2000, in a poverty-stricken neighborhood in the United States, a young girl with incredible determination defied the odds and gained admission to Harvard University. Her inspiring journey took her from the headlines of the Daily Mail to being celebrated as the Miracle Girl. Her name is Liz Morris, and 3 years later, her story was adapted into a film called The Windy Road to Harvard. When Liz was just a child, every time she entered a classroom, she would be met with curious glances from her classmates. She carried a persistent unpleasant odor due to her inability to bathe or change clothes for an extended period. However, except for Liz herself, no one knew that the bathtub in her home was filled with dirty water, rendering it impossible for her to bathe. Despite these challenges, Liz didn't shy away from exams. When her teacher considered confiscating her test paper due to her frequent absence from classes, she resolutely replied, "I'll take it. It doesn't look that hard." Surprisingly, she scored a perfect grade, ranking first in the class. Her teacher was baffled by this result, which led to admiration. Unbeknownst to everyone, Liz had utilized an encyclopedia she found in the trash to self-educate herself. The teacher's initial skepticism transformed into appreciation, and he hoped Liz would attend school regularly in the future, not wanting her remarkable intellect to go to waste. However, it was challenging for him to fathom the dire circumstances of Liz's family. Liz's parents were far from being ideal role models. Her mother suffered from schizophrenia and was almost blind, leading to daily arguments and tensions. Her mother's battles with addiction were a common occurrence, and Liz's dedication to her family would often take precedence over her education. One day, when her mother's addiction flared up, she desperately seized what little money the family had left for food to feed her habit. Liz's older sister strongly objected, but her father remained indifferent, passively watching television. Overcome with compassion, Liz gave her hard-earned money to her mother. In a moment of near delirium, her mother smiled, driven solely by the anticipation of fulfilling her desire. The mother was oblivious to how much her daughter cherished that fleeting smile. Left without money for food, Liz resorted to scavenging leftovers from the garbage bins, prioritizing filling her empty stomach over attending school. Despite the hardships she faced, Liz refrained from complaining about her life, as this was the only family she had ever known. She could have settled for a less chaotic life, but to Liz, the mere existence of a family meant the world. Nevertheless, her mother's deteriorating health became unbearable as she decided to take Liz back to her grandfather's home. Liz's hope was that her grandfather would come to take them in, but the days passed with no sign of him. Liz had to say a heart-wrenching goodbye to her mother, who left to find shelter and help. Not much later, the welfare authorities intervened and decided to move Liz to a foster home. The unsanitary and disorganized living conditions at her family's home led them to conclude that her father was incapable of providing proper care for her. Liz, with a pleading look in her eyes, watched her father, but he made no effort to stop the decision. Consequently, Liz became an orphan yet again. Despite having parents, she was sent to a foster home, where life was anything but easy. In the foster home, Liz had to endure constant squabbles and confrontations with other children. Despite her efforts to remain unproblematic and not offend anyone, she frequently ended up on the receiving end of unjust treatment. It seemed as if being the new arrival came with a special set of challenges. Nonetheless, Liz persevered until one fateful day when she witnessed a girl pouring bleach into another girl's shampoo. The heart-wrenching screams that followed echoed throughout the entire welfare institution. This was the breaking point for Liz, who was determined to escape this living nightmare. Several years later, Liz finally had the opportunity to leave the foster home. She had hopes of reuniting with her mother and turning over a new leaf. To her surprise, her mother had managed to overcome her addiction and had significantly improved her mental health. They went shopping and shared stories of happier times, making it the most beautiful day of Liz's life. She believed that her family could finally be rebuilt. However, Liz's mother delivered the heartbreaking news that her father hadn't been paying rent for a long time and had been evicted, resorting to a life of alcoholism on the streets. Furthermore, he had developed a terminal illness, and his time was running out. Liz's grandfather, who had never been particularly welcoming, exploded that day, telling her, "You'll end up trash anyway, just like your parents." With that, Liz was once again left without a family and found herself back on the streets, wandering and fighting to survive. Homeless and weary, Liz scavenged for food in garbage bins, relied on the subway for shelter, and occasionally begged for sustenance when she had no other options. She had no permanent residence. The subway became her sanctuary, Even in these dire circumstances, Liz never gave in to self-pity. She remembered that her family, despite its imperfections, was something she treasured. She often sneaked back to her grandfather's home to check on her mother. She watched her mother suffer from illness and felt her heartache as she yearned to see her mom get better. The reality was harsh, but Liz clung to the belief that her mother would recover. "You're gonna get better," she would tell her mom, professing her love. However, fate had other plans. One day, while passing by the place where her mother often indulged in alcohol, Liz noticed her mother's usual seat was empty, replaced by a few compassionate individuals who had gathered loose change. Her mother had passed away the day before. Liz's world was on the verge of collapsing. Devastated by her mother's death, Liz was overwhelmed with grief. She attended her mother's funeral, a solemn event that lacked the usual rituals and ceremonies. It was a stark reminder of the harsh reality of her life. A simple wooden casket, bearing someone else's name, became her mother's final resting place. There were no priests or mourners, just a handful of strangers. A week later, Liz would never find her mother again. She was left without a family, forced to face life's harsh realities on her own. With every trace of family gone, Liz had no other option but to persevere. She was determined to get an education as it was her only way out of her predicament. She enrolled in a school, and although she had missed the deadline for admission, the principal was moved by her determination. Liz was granted admission. The only hitch was that she needed her parents' signature for enrollment. To preserve her secret and disguise her orphan status, she had to seek her father's signature at the homeless shelter. Her father remained indifferent, signing the papers and sending her on her way. Now Liz was officially a student, but she had to maintain the facade of returning to a home like other kids. However, the reality of her life was different. Liz's home was the subway station, and she had to return there every day after school. Despite these challenges, Liz threw herself into her studies, working tirelessly to catch up with her peers. Her daily routine involved studying late into the night, and she was the last student to leave school each day and the first to arrive in the morning. When she wasn't studying or attending school, she could be found on the subway, using her commute to make the most of her time. The subway became her refuge, and her life followed a meticulous schedule. She had to complete 4 rounds on the subway before reaching school, and she stuck to her routine diligently. She made it her goal to complete 4 years of coursework in just 2 years, recognizing the ground she had to make up. Although this sounded like a daunting task, it was one that Liz was determined to conquer. She often sought guidance from her principal during her free periods and even posted study materials on the wall of the sink at the diner where she worked part-time. Liz's unwavering dedication paid off. Every time she took an exam, she ranked first in her class. Her regular life, dedicated to learning, filled her with an unprecedented sense of fulfillment. The long-awaited good news arrived when Liz learned that the school allowed the top 10 students to visit Harvard University for free. Harvard had always been every student's dream, but for Liz, it seemed like an unattainable fantasy. The principal's encouraging words echoed in her mind, and she embarked on a quest to find scholarships. Her dedication led her to a scholarship opportunity advertised by the New York Times, offering $12,000 to the student who could best articulate how they faced challenges and overcame adversity. Liz couldn't afford to miss this opportunity. She spent 4 months working on her essay, pouring her heart and soul into it. It was only on the night before the deadline, her 18th birthday, that she submitted her essay. With great anticipation, Liz made it to the interview stage for the scholarship. The opportunity had come on her 18th birthday, a perfect symbol of her journey. Her interview went exceptionally well, leaving the panel of judges moved by her extraordinary story. Liz's words resonated deeply with the interviewers, who were captivated by her strength, determination, and unique perspective. When asked about her journey, she was calm and poised, explaining how her parents had shown her the harsh alternative to her struggles. The way she described her difficult childhood and her mother's challenges, especially her mother's love, touched the judges' hearts. The interview panel was brought to tears by her story, realizing that this remarkable girl deserved all the respect and admiration she had received. During the scholarship awards ceremony, a reporter asked Liz if she had ever felt sorry for herself. Liz confidently replied, "How could I not do it? My parents showed me what the alternative was." Didn't you ever feel sorry for yourself? Sleeping in subways, eating from dumpsters? Her journey had stripped away her sense of safety and security, but it had also revealed her extraordinary resilience and strength. The audience was moved by her words, and applause thundered throughout the room. When another reporter asked her what she would change if she could, she answered without hesitation, "I'd give it all back. How about it? If I could have my family." Though her family might not have been perfect, but it was her family, and she treasured it deeply. Liz's remarkable story is a testament to resilience and determination. It serves as an inspiration to all of us, reminding us that even when life throws its worst challenges our way, maintaining hope and pushing through can lead to incredible achievements. Liz Morris's story is a testament to her incredible determination and resilience. Her journey, filled with ups and downs, serves as a powerful reminder that no matter how challenging life may be, with unwavering faith and resilience, we can overcome adversity and achieve our dreams. Liz's story is an inspiration to us all, urging us to never give up in the face of life's challenges and to keep working towards creating our own miracles.